Tonight, the state of Florida executed its sixth inmate this year. Michael Zack died by lethal injection in the Florida State Prison in Stark shortly after 6 o'clock Eastern Time. Zack was convicted of the murders of two women in Northwest Florida. He received the death sentence for the rape and murder of a Pensacola woman. Tanner Stewart was a media witness at the execution today.
The death sentence of the state of Florida versus Michael Dwayne Zack III was carried out 6:14 this evening at the Florida State Prison. Just 10 minutes before this, we heard from Zack in his last words, "I love you all."
My day as a witness to the execution began hours before when prison officials briefed us in front of these vans that drove us behind prison walls. Once inside, I waited roughly 35 minutes with other members of the media before being escorted to the execution viewing room. It was complete silence for another 30 minutes. Of the 20 witnesses in attendance, none hardly moved a muscle the entire time. There was a curtain covering a window to the execution chamber. When it dropped, Zack looked to the crowd before a prison official called the governor to confirm the death warrant. His last words to the witnesses came just after 6:01. 4 words, "I love you all." His eyes stayed open until the injection started. Zack's eyes quickly closed, and we saw very little movement after this. Within 5 minutes, one of 3 officials in the room checked to see if Zack was conscious. One yelled his name twice, but there was no response. At 6:13, a doctor was called in to check his vitals. He was pronounced dead 1 minute later.
I have been asked to read Michael's final statement.
Outside, protesters argued against this punishment, reading this final statement from Zack.
I did things that have hurt a lot of people, not only the victims and their families and friends. I make no excuses. I lay no blame. But how I wish that I could have a second chance to live out my days in prison and continue to do all I can to make a difference in this world. And finally, to Governor DeSantis and the Clemency Board, I love you, I forgive you, I pray for you. Michael Zack.
The execution of Michael Zack marks the 8th under Governor Ron DeSantis' administration and just the 6th this year. Reporting outside the Florida State Prison, I'm Tanner Stewart.